All right, I got another one for you guys. This one comes from GameSpot. Warner Brothers discusses volatile AAA console games will lean into free-to-play and mobile. So Warner Brothers has decided that because Harry Potter was such a freaking huge success with Hogwarts Legacy, that they're going to go ahead and not do that again. Yeah, brilliant move, guys, brilliant. Let's just read a little bit of this, and I'll talk a little bit more about what I think their mentality here is and how I think it's a terrible plan. So first of all, during a recent Morgan Stanley speaking event, Warner Brothers Discovery Gaming boss JB Parikh discussed some of the company's strategy for gaming going forward, and it includes more live service, mobile, and free-to-play games. So also live service is included in that because that's doing really well too right now. He said, we're doubling down on games as an area where we think there is a lot more growth opportunity that we can tap into with the IP that we have and some of the capabilities we have on the studio where we're uniquely positioned as both a publisher and developer of games. Parikh said WBD's recent gaming output has focused on AAA games for console, and that's great when a game like Hogwarts Legacy sells 22 million copies and becomes the best-selling game of the year. Rock and roll, Hogwarts Legacy. But this kind of success is never guaranteed in what Parikh said was a volatile market. He pointed out that one of WBD's latest big games, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, was a disappointment for the company. And I wonder why. The plan going forward, as he said, is to help reduce volatility by focusing on core franchises and bringing at least some of the mobile and free-to-play space, as well as continuing to invest in live service games that people play and spend money on over a long period of time. Now, they've been talking about this, Warner Brothers and other studios, for a long time, that they're really looking for some way to cash in on this continuously, and that's the live service model is the way forward, so that they can have continual income from these games for a long extended period of time, and they don't have to drop a ton of development for a one-off thing like Hogwarts Legacy was. So I mean, they're not going big, they're going home is basically what it sounds like to me. However, in my opinion, I think that is a terrible mistake because the problem here is clear. The problem here is that when you write games that are preaching to your audience instead of being just fun to play and entertaining and enjoyable, when you're preaching to them, they bomb miserably, and that's what Suicide Squad did. Hogwarts Legacy was an attempt at as genuine a Harry Potter game as you can get. Went back to the source material and kept it legitimate. That's what Hogwarts Legacy was, and that's what people enjoy, and that's why it sold 22 million copies. That's why it is the best-selling game of the year, is because it was genuine. It wasn't preachy. It wasn't subverting our expectations. It wasn't trying to inject identity politics and everything. It wasn't trying to inject politics at all into everything. It was just trying to be a fun game that people enjoyed, and that's what people did. They enjoyed the heck out of it. They bought 22 million copies, and it was the best-selling game of the year. So when you do that, you become one of the biggest players in the industry, or the biggest player in the industry of this past year. But when you don't, you fail miserably. Yet it sounds like what they're interested in doing is continuing to fail miserably and nickel and diming you to death while they do it, which is going to somehow make them more money. I don't know. Parikh went on to say that WBD is uniquely positioned because it has popular brands. He singled out Mortal Kombat, Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, and DC as its biggest, as well as 11 internal game development studios. So yeah, that's an interesting combination there. So Mortal Kombat 1 did not do well. Game of Thrones, I don't know if you recall, but yeah, Game of Thrones isn't doing very good in the media space right now. The only one of these is actually doing good is Harry Potter, and that was because it was a genuine attempt at a Harry Potter game, at least Hogwarts game. I mean, the other three are bombing miserably in their spaces. I can't imagine a Game of Thrones game is going to be any good and get any kind of traction on it. I mean, how would you even do that is the question. I mean, you could do an RPG, but are they going to do an RPG, or are they going to do like a live service thing and do their typical shtick here, which is probably go to mobile and free to play. And then, you know, they had these thoughts about rather than just launching one and done console game, how do we develop a game around, for example, a Hogwarts Legacy or Harry Potter? that is a live service where people can live and work and build and play in the world that is an ongoing basis. So they want effectively a live service MMO where you are living in that world and continually spending money in order to continue to live in that world is basically what it sounds like they're doing. And that does work for some people. I mean, that's, whales exist. And that's how those free to play games and those live service games operate, and that's how they make money. However, that market is pretty well saturated, and it's tough to compete in those spaces compared to a one and done, single or multiplayer game that doesn't have all this live service microtransaction nonsense. I mean, Mortal Kombat 1 was microtransaction very heavy. And people didn't like it. I mean, I didn't like it. I just want to go back to the old days where Mortal Kombat was standalone, where you can unlock characters by your skill and not by, paying money to the publisher to unlock things that you should already have. I don't know. It just seems like this is a desperate move by a desperate company that thinks that they can, pull these franchises out of the mud without changing the way that they make them. And that seems to be the end result here. I mean, they're basing Suicide Squad's Kill the Justice League's disappointing numbers on the fact that it wasn't a live service game, though, on the fact that it wasn't mobile and free to play. So yeah, that's not that I can't imagine that that's what it was. Everyone that I've talked to, everyone that I've heard from about Suicide Squad is they didn't like the characterization of how the heroes died. They didn't like the way that things went down in that. They did not like the writing. They did not like the plot. They did not like the story. And everything about it was just not what DC is about, not what DC Comics is supposed to be. So it was a disingenuous attempt. It was an attempt to, inject things in there that shouldn't be there, and it just failed miserably because of it. So hopefully they'll learn their lesson eventually because, I mean, like they said, they got a lot of IPs that are really great. I wish they could pull them out of the mud and make them popular and make good games around them. But it seems like we're going to be waiting a while for that. So that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed the vid. If you like these kind of videos, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk to you guys later.